Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to this month's Altitude. Hey, for our Finnish viewers. My name's Tom, and I'm delighted to be with you in the host seat for this month's episode. Ice, snow, howling winds, and temperatures as low as -30 are hardly ideal conditions to be running an international airport, but that's the reality for the team at Rovaniemi, Finland, the second busiest airport. So what's the secret? What allows the airport to stay open when so many others would be forced to close? How do the teams ensure a warm welcome to the thousands of visitors that flock to Lapland to meet Santa and glimpse the Northern Lights every year? To help us answer these questions, I'm delighted to be joined by two people who know a thing or two about running airports at the extremes. Suvi Niinimäki, Rovaniemi Chief of ATC at FinTraffic, and Johan Jujärvi, Finavia's Rovaniemi Airport Manager. Hello to you both, and a very warm welcome to Altitude.
Thank you.
A quick reminder to everyone watching that you can submit your questions to Suvi and Johan during the show, and we'll get to many as we can later on. To begin with, tell us a bit about yourselves, where you're joining us from today, and of course, what's the weather like? Would you like to start, Suvi?
Of course. So hello, everybody. My name is Suvi Niinimäki. I work as a chief of the ATC here in Rovaniemi ATC. And at the moment, I'm at my office at the airport, at the tower. So it's very, very white. When I look out from the window, it's snowing a bit. It's very much snow at the moment. And I can see there's a lot of snow removal going on the runway when I look out of the window. And the weather is not too cold today. It's a bit like -2 degrees, so not that cold.
And Johan?
Hello everybody, my name is Johan Jujärvi. I'm an airport manager here in Rovaniemi Airport. Little bit more about history. For this year, May, it's about 40 years ago, I came first time here in Rovaniemi Airport. I was starting work on here as a loader. And after that, I have been working on the handling companies. But now on this airport manager job, I have been about 8 years now. So as Suvi say that this is quite easy day for us today because it is not snowing and temperature is only -2. So it is
only
like
-2.
Only -2. It's like summer weather for us.
Yeah,
so
for us, warm.
it's warm.
And Suvi, what's your experience? How did you end up where you are in air traffic control?
Well, actually, I have a background in the military. I'm an Air Force officer, former Air Force officer. So
Wow.
That's how I get into aviation. I started as a controller in the military and then continued at the civilian side. And I've been working as chief of the ATC now for 2 years.
Fantastic. Johan, so the airport's located right on the edge of the Arctic Circle. How important is the airport to Lapland, the Finnish economy and the community?
Yes, it is quite important on here in Rovaniemi area because we don't have any industry here in Rovaniemi. I think sort of about 80 or 90% of the people who are living here, they are getting their salary from the services or the government job or the other one. So it is very, very important that the airport is here and it is bringing the tourists, a lot of tourists during the year.
And here in the UK, I work at Manchester Airport, which sees a reasonable amount of bad weather, nothing like the kind of temperatures I'm sure you have to deal with. But we've really invested in winter preparation and snow clearing. But the things that you guys do is clearly on another level. How severe are the winters in Lapland? You said it's only -2 today. What's the most extreme it can get to? And how much snow is there? Is it ever difficult for you guys just to get into work?
Average temperature here in Rovaniemi, it is about, in the winter time, it is about -10. And we have snow here on the ground about 6 months. So we are quite used to live with the snow. Our summertime is quite short. And it's totally different than the winter time because in the summertime, the sun is shining all the time. There's no darkness in the summertime. But in the winter time, there is a daylight. If you are in the middle of the winter, the daylight is about few hours. But you can believe that it's not so dark because we have snow on the ground on here. So even it is dark, it not look like so dark, and it's quite easy to come to the also the work to the airport, because as I said that we are used to live with snow. So, and also the roads and everything is clean. We are used to clean them from the snow. So, for example, I will come around a year with the bicycle to here
Really?
in work. So there's some days in during the winter time that it's quite hard, but it takes about 5 or 10 minutes more. But as I said, we are very used to live with the snow.
Yeah. So Suvi, you've never had a day where you've woken up, you're a bit late for work, and suddenly the car's covered in snow and you can't make it in on time?
Well, as Johan said, we are very, very used to the snow. So sometimes it can be like a lot of snowfall during the nighttime. So in the morning, you just have to wake up a bit earlier and just clear your car. And Johan said that in Rovaniemi, the government or the city is keeping all the streets very clean. So it's very actually easy to come. But it's very nice. Johan is taking by bicycle, and sometimes I can come by skis, like cross-country skiing to work. So it's easy for that as well. So actually, I like the fact that we have so much snow on the airport.
And also we have some employees who can come to the airport by their snowmobiles, because the snowmobile road, there is a special kind of roads for the snowmobiles. One is coming to the airport, so it's quite easy to come with the snowmobile if you have the own snowmobile.
And is that like, is everyone else envious of the people that have a snowmobile to get into work? Is that like the coolest way to travel?
Yeah, it is the coolest way, of course.
And also our security guys, when they are looking after the fence during the winter time, they are checking those fence with the snowmobiles, so they can drive the snowmobile in also on a working hour.
Are they looking for people, for animals that have got through, or just general security?
Yeah, the fences are. Not the animals are not coming on through that, but in the winter time we don't have any birds here because all the birds have been moved on the south. But in summertime, we have a lot of birds here also here in Rovaniemi area.
Well, and so obviously the infrastructure around Rovaniemi, and I'm sure in Finland in general, is very used to the snow. But what kind of impact does it have on the airport and the air traffic operation? What does a normal day look like for you, Suvi? And things like planes de-icing, is that something that you have to factor in, or again, is there special procedures for you?
Yeah, we have a lot actually in the morning, or when you arrive to your shift, you check all the weather, all the forecast, you check the runway conditions and how it's gonna evolve during the day. So that's like the main briefing is the weather briefing when you are arriving to your shift. So it plays a major role, the weather, especially how is the runway, if it's slippery, how is the runway condition code. So that actually that is the one thing that is letting us to control the traffic. So if it's very poor conditions, so we know that it's going to be delays, it's going to be really hard in ATC. But sometimes it's when it's not snowing and the weather is clear, so it's like a normal summer day.
So not too bad then. But am I right in thinking if you did have one of those days, so there's a certain time from when an aircraft is de-iced until when it needs to be airborne, is that right? And does that ever cause a problem? Do aircraft have to go back to the apron?
Yeah, so we do have that problem sometimes, since we have a lot of new operators in Rovaniemi, and most of them are not very used to operate in like real winter conditions like we have here. So sometimes like all the other traffic can be like so slow, or we are active military base, so we are joint airport. We have a military side, very active military side. So sometimes there are some delays caused not by the military, but because we have two different kind of traffic here. So sometimes we just get delays that they have to do the do the de-icing again. So of course that's not the best thing for the operators, but what can you do?
You take it all in your stride as air traffic control, I'm sure. And if you come into work and there's been a heavy snowfall and they've just begun to do the de-icing, how long does that take? Or do you have to de-ice everywhere? Can you leave some elements? Do you need all the taxiways at once?
Yeah, we open the runway first. That's the number one, and then taxiways. Not all the intersections, we have a lot of them, but just like a few of those intersections we will open, and then we continue with the apron and the military side. So yeah, it's a lot of work for the maintenance guys in the winter time. But we start, of course, with the runway and with the taxiway. So at least there's one intersection to go to the runway.
And Johan, what's your involvement in that when you need to do a big de-icing operation?
For the de-icing, it is done by handling companies here in Rovaniemi airport. The airport is not doing the de-icing, but these guys who are working with the handling company, they are very used to do it on the de-icing, and also the methods when they are doing. If you are checking the de-icing is that kind of thing that they will remove the ice and snow from the wings and fuselage with the hot water, and there is also glycol that it doesn't freeze. And what kind of mixture they are using, it depends on the weather temperature. And nowadays they have that kind of automatic system in their cars that the car will be choose the right mixer tool. So, wow. And the water it is a minimum is plus 60 degrees. So it will be smelt all the ice from the aircraft wings and after, if it's snowing, and then they have to do also anti-icing, and then they are putting different type of de-icing fluid to the covers, the wings and fuselage, that it will be protect for the snowing if it is snowing on and that is the difference for the de-icing and the anti-icing.
Snow's actually falling. Right.
Yeah, but nowadays the liquids are that kind of that the protection times are quite long, and so there is only few times per year that the aircraft have to come back to the apron and take the new de-icing or anti-icing.
So the products are quite developed because obviously they've been used for a long time now. But do you think with global warming, possibly the winters are getting more extreme? Have you seen lower temperatures in the last few years? Have you seen more extreme weather?
For the last years, I think so that nowadays the winter time they are a little bit warmer than the older days. But this winter time has been very, very cold. Until this time, the 3 first months on this winter was cold. There was days that it was minus 30 or minus 35 many days, but and also the snowing. I think so that it has been not changing so much, but my opinion is that the winter is a little bit warmer nowadays than it was about 40 years ago.
And Suvi, what do you think, if you've come into work, what's the most challenging condition you think you have to deal with? Or you come in, you see something, or you see something on the forecast and you think, this is going to be a hard day. What does that look like for you?
It's the heavy snowfall. When it's a lot of snowing coming at the same time, then we know that it's going to be a challenge for the maintenance guys. And also the other the example is when the runway is very slippery, and if it's crosswinds, then we know it's going to be really challenging for the aircraft to operate from the runway. So those are maybe the 2 most challenging weathers we have.
Sure. And so you obviously put a lot of work into keeping the airport running safely and smoothly 24 hours a day. But have you done much investment in new technology? So I heard about snowbots. Can you tell us a bit more about that and equipment like that?
We hadn't tried on these ones here in Rovaniemi airport, but about a few years ago there was testing on the Ivalo airport, which is about 300 kilometers from here to the north, and they was testing on that kind of automat sweeper blowers, but after that testing, it was year 19 that they was testing that, but after that we hadn't heard anything. But I have heard that in Norway they have also tested that kind of an automatic system.
But maybe not as good as humans.
Yeah, maybe on some days, because the runway, it is like the box, and it is quite easy to make that kind of system that the vehicle is driving on that box, but there is also a lot of things what the driver have to choose, what kind of pressure for it is for the swipe blowers, what they are using, what kind of pressure they will use, what is the speed on that weather, what is
a lot of different variables.
Yeah, there is a lot of different things. Yeah, but let's see. Let's see in the future. Maybe we will see.
Exactly. Suvi, what does the airport actually close completely? So you mentioned heavy snowfall, crosswind. What would it take to actually cause the airport to close, either for a short time or for longer?
Okay, our airport to be closed, that means that the runway condition code should be 0. So, and we don't have 0, we have 1 very often, but the 0 is, I remember from my career that we had a 0 like 20 minutes this winter. So for those 20 minutes in the night time, actually in the very early in the morning, it was a short period of time. The runway was closed, but nobody was using it on that time. So actually, I don't see the situation that the runway would be closed.
Since so 20 minutes in the entire winter, that's the only time.
And nobody was using it on that time, so there was no delays for anybody. So, but we usually have the condition code 1, that is very common for us, but the runway condition code 0, which means that it's closed. So that's the thing that doesn't happen.
And this is the global reporting format, right? So we've started using that here as well in the last few years. Generally, at Manchester, on a really nice day in the summer, maybe I get a 6. Usually it's a 5. Which is
for the rain.
That's the usual one for us. But no, we've never been. I've never seen a 1 or a 0, luckily, or not recently.
We have the most common in Rovaniemi, I think, is 2 or 3. In the winter, it's.
Because in the winter time, the Rovaniemi airport is in the top of the hill, so we have the most challenging weather conditions here in Rovaniemi airport than the other airport here in Finland. And it is very common that the runway code is 1, 2, or 3, because it is sometimes it is very, very cold. We cannot use any chemicals to smelt the snow. Only what we can try to do on the runway, it is brushing. And
that's because the chemicals are ineffective because it's so cold?
Yeah, it's so cold that if you are spraying that, they will be frozen, and after that you have the skating area on the runway. So, so that's why, and even we are not closed, but there is some airlines that they have that kind of manuals that pilots cannot land it if there is some crosswind, and also the runway code is under 3 or under 2, but when they have used to operate also here in Rovaniemi, they have changes that the manuals that they can land also even the runway code is number 1.
Right. And so outside of work, it must be a stunning place to live in Lapland and for people to visit. I know you enjoy a record number of visitors to Rovaniemi last Christmas. What's it like being the official airport of Santa Claus? And there's a lot of pressure, I guess, to be Santa Claus airport. Have you ever met the man himself, Suvi?
No, yes, many times. Actually, we have a place that Santa Claus actually lives, and it's like 1-2 kilometers from the airport, so it's very close by. So it's very, very easy from the airport to meet the Santa Claus. So it's very easy. And as you can see in the picture, we have sometimes in December, Santa Claus is also visiting in the terminal to greet the passengers.
Amazing. And Johan, I presume maybe you've seen him in the terminal as well then?
Yeah, on this season we have 12 new roads starting, and all these roads starting, there was Santa Claus was visiting on those days, and sometimes he is coming here to see that we have everything is fine for the Christmas time. And also, in older days, we put on our TV system that the last flight in the 24th of December was the Santa Claus was leaving, and it was departing to all over the world and give the gifts for the kids.
Yeah. And Johan, so back to the airport and the equipment you're using, what do you see? We talked about maybe snowbots are not the answer, or maybe in the future. Is there any other technology or developments and things that are on the horizon that are going to be useful for you in terms of helping to clear snow more efficiently, or developments of things?
This moment there is not other equipment. Only we are development on this equipment what we have nowadays. But we have tried something system that we are try to smelt on the ice on the runway on a big heaters, but it doesn't work, and it is very, very slowly on that system. But maybe in the future we will find out some kind of new technology that it will be help for keeping our runway open also in the winter time.
It sounds like you do a very good job of it already.
Yeah, I think so. That this equipment, what we have nowadays, it has been development here in Finland, and it has been here about 50 or 60 years, and I don't know. We have also car testing areas on here. And why the car testers are doing the winter testing here in the airport area, because we have that kind of equipment that we can repair the test areas for them also in the winter time. And I think so that this was year 83 that the ABS system in a braking system was published here in Rovaniemi airport for the press, and they were showing how it's working. And nowadays, I think so that system is on all the cars what are selling all around the year, all around the world.
And Suvi, when you're so looking on my experience, when I have a snow clearing vehicle, I have to speak to that vehicle and control it like I would a plane. So I give it entry clearance into the runway or on taxiways. Is that the same for you, or do they have free authority in the airport?
No, of course they don't have the free authority. We are guiding them. We are controlling them as we are guiding or controlling the aircraft as well. So we have one radio for the aircraft and one frequency or one radio for the ground vehicles. So we are actually, sometimes it's a bit of a mix. So since we have a lot of aircraft and a lot of ground vehicles at the same time, so it requires a lot of attention from the controller, that you have to be able to plan everything so that everybody will stay safe.
Of course. And you must put a huge amount of work into the winter plan every year. What are you looking to achieve with that? Who do you work with? Who do you talk to around the area? And what factors do you have to take into account?
I think so that actually we don't have to do so much work for the snow plan, because we are quite used to live with this snow. But the only thing what we are, if we are finding something to change on those plans, then we will change them. But actually, because we have snow here on the ground about 6 months, summertime is only 2 or 3 months, and sometimes during September we have take also our equipment for the cleaning the runway. So we are quite used to so.
Sure.
Yeah, for us, like normal operations.
It's a normal operation. It's a normal day.
And what's the typical depth in winter? So I guess you clear the runways, you clear the taxiways, but otherwise is the snow left untouched? So you have piles of snow, maybe how many centimeters deep that are the size of the runway?
Yeah, there might be like a snow banks on the side of the runway. So at the moment, I think we have like 60 or 70 centimeters snow in here in Rovaniemi. So when you are, for example, at the airport or when you are looking from the tower, there is a lot of snow everywhere. So between the taxiway, between taxiway and the runway, there is a lot of snow. So we are clearing the snow from the critical areas, but we do have a lot of places on the airport. We have a lot of snow.
But some years we have to rent from the skiing center on that kind of equipment, that we have to also remove that snow what is between taxiway and the runway, because the snow is so because we are removing the snow with the snow blowers, so there is so huge amount of the snow that we have to remove that the aircraft wings that doesn't touch on that snow.
Right. So how high is the snow at the moment? What's the depth of the snow?
I think so. It's about 70 centimeters, but it's quite normal. And during the March and also April, there will be snowing more, and typical winter is about 80 or 1 meter snow.
Wow. Okay, so I think we're probably ready to take some questions from the audience now. Thank you very much for answering those from me. So we've got a question from Charles, first of all. Suvi, I think you can answer this one maybe. Do pilot reports or technology like aircraft braking action reports help your runway condition assessments?
Yes, definitely. We have example for our national carrier, Finnair. They have the system that they are able to report the braking action from their perspective, so their point of view. So whenever there is a discrepancy, it's different that we are reporting, they will report that to us. So we are able to see what's if they say that it's for their experience, it's 1, but in the report it's 2. So then the maintenance guys, they will go onto the runway and try to make it better, or then they will re-report the new system. So it really helps us for the aircraft information.
And also for that system, the Airbus has been tested that system in a few years ago, and they fly to test flight, and when they developed that system, and the Rovaniemi airport was the one of the airports where they tested, and afterwards it's coming on the Finnair aircraft and also the other airlines aircrafts.
Okay, so that's integrated into the Finnair aircraft, and they can communicate with you using that system to tell you exactly what the conditions are like.
Yeah, actually they're reporting us on frequency. So at like the tactical, the on the day data, it's through the frequency, but then they have like more specific reports, and then they are getting the files as well. But usually other Finnair pilots, if they don't agree with the runway condition code, and they say that, okay, my aircraft told it's better or worse, so then we of course take that in account.
And how long would it take to go and to send out the team to get the new condition report if the pilots doubt that it's correct anymore or there's been a change?
Well, it's only a few minutes, and then they will depart and they will go onto the runway, and it's like maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and we will have a new report.
Simple.
Yeah, it's very simple.
Another question then. This one's from Warren. So Johan, maybe you can answer this. What's worse from an ops perspective, a heavy snowstorm with drifting snow or a blanket of ice? Which is harder to deal with?
I think so that the the worst case for us for the airport size is when there is heavy crosswind and when it's snowing quite heavily. Then there is, I think, sort of the most difficult winter conditions for us. But as Suvi said, that even on this kind of winter conditions, the airport is not closed. The runway code is quite low, so on that kind of condition, the aircraft can be divert on the other airports then. But the airport is not closed also on that kind of weather conditions. And so we say that it was 20 minutes, and if I remember right, we have very, very hard crosswind about 7 years ago, and there was one day that no aircraft can land it because the weather conditions was so hard.
Due to the crosswind.
Yeah, to the crosswind, and snowing, yeah.
So really, anything with, like we talked about before, anything with that heavy snow or the crosswind or both, if it was really bad, that's the thing that causes a real problem for you.
Yes,
yeah. And also when it's very cold, the runway is not so slippery. It's coming much more better one when it's very, very cold. And also the roads, I don't know, have you drive on the roads in a very cold weather? Also the roads are much more better condition than now. Today it is -1, so they are quite slippery on today. But when it's very cold, it's not the weather. The braking action is quite good.
Really, so it actually starts to get better again once it gets.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Like
and
very cold.
And also when it's very cold, you don't have to do any de-icing because the air is very, very dry, and sometimes we have to. The pilots are telling us that they want to de-icing, and we have to go. We have to speak them that please come to see your wings. They are clear. There is no. There is any frost on your wings, so we don't have to do any de-icing for your aircraft.
Amazing! I had no idea that when you get even colder, it actually improves the grip of the conditions.
Yeah.
Again, in my experience, if you have snow or ice, that makes driving and flying very, very difficult. But that's amazing. And so, on that theme, have you looked at under the runway heating? Is that a possibility rather than clearing on top? Is it possible to heat the runway underneath? Like you might have a heated windscreen in the car. Is that something that's been looked at?
No, it's not possible. No? For example, we have in the car testing area, we have that kind of area where we was heating on asphalt on about 100 meter, and it was wide about 50 meters, and during winter time it's cost about 30,000 euros to heat up on that one. And if it was a very, very small part of and our runway is 3 kilometers long and 60 meters wide, and if we are repairing any heating system on then we don't have so much money to do.
I guess so.
And on that the price, what I say that then the electric price was much more cheaper than it's nowadays.
So we have another question. This one's from Daryl. Suvi, I think hopefully you can answer this. Are there any special considerations for your controlling techniques in periods of snow? How do pilots behave differently on the airfield covered in snow? And do you take this into account?
Yeah, we definitely take it into account, and yeah, I can say that the pilots, they are acting differently. You can actually see like who are like the domestic pilots, like Finnair pilots, they are very used to operate in a winter condition. So for them, it's usually no problem. But for all the foreign companies, there might be a pilot that never flew in the winter conditions. So they are really, really worried. So they are asking a lot about the conditions on the runway, and they are asking everything, can we improve it? So they are taking it really, really safely. They are, for example, on the ground, they are moving very, very slow. They are taxiing slow. They are taking everything very, very slow, which is very understandable. And of course, we have to, as a controlling, we have to take that in an account. So we have to make a longer sequence. So it's not like 3 miles. So we have to take like 10 miles separations or sequence for the aircraft, since it takes a lot of time to, for example, vacate the runway after the landing.
Sure.
So yeah, it's definitely something we have to take in account in the ATC.
And do Finnair pilots ever get frustrated with, maybe you have a pilot from Manchester who's flown there and they're being a little bit slow?
But you can hear that they are like much more used to these kind of operations. Of course, they understand like what it is for the pilots who never flown in the runway, which is 100% ice. So of course, it's like something you're a bit worried about. But yeah, the Finnair pilots usually they operate with no problems, and the Air Force pilots as well.
Amazing. So we have a question from Anders. In continuous snow conditions, how long of a gap do you need between arrivals to be able to clean the runway?
It depends on how many like vehicles, how many sweepers we have in use. But it depends on how much it's snowing at the time. But it can take anything from like 15 minutes to like 40 minutes or 45 minutes. So I cannot give you the one answer, but it takes time. Sometimes it takes more time and sometimes less.
And hopefully, even if they're inexperienced, everyone that's coming to Rovaniemi takes some extra holding fuel to allow for that.
Yeah, definitely. Because sometimes we need to use the holding patterns. It's actually almost in the winter time when it's snowing, almost every day we have to put the arriving traffic on the holding pattern just to wait for the runway clearing. So yeah, they do have some extra fuel for arriving.
Brilliant. We have a question from John. Is there a lot of collaboration between airports that operate in similar conditions around the world, a kind of snow alliance? So maybe you talk to other very cold places in the world to work on your plans together?
This moment, no, but we are doing cooperation with the airport what are nearby here in Finland. For example, the Kittilä airport, it's about 150 kilometers to north from here, and also the Ivalo airport, and what is 300 kilometers away from here to north, and Kuusamo airport, what is a little bit south of one. So we are discussing with them, and also because they are belong our company, we are doing very, very closely cooperation. But here in Rovaniemi airport, we don't have that kind of other airport in some part of the world that we make the cooperation with them.
I guess maybe other places need to ask you, because it sounds like you know exactly how to deal with it. You have a lot of experience.
Yeah. And sometimes in the Central Europe airports, they have been asking for our machines, what kind of machines we have and where we have buy them, and that kind of cooperation.
And are they specific? Are they Finnish designed, produced, or do they come from somewhere else?
Nowadays, the models what we have, they are Finnish design, but they are also manufactured from Norway, for example. They are doing also that kind of equipment, and good equipments also on there.
But I guess it is very specific, which is why it is fairly close to home, because not many places need such extreme equipment all the time.
Yeah, and for our swiper machines, we calculated 1 year that how many kilometers they will drive from on that runway, and one winter time the calculation result was 25,000 kilometers they was driving. on that 3 kilometers long runway. So
I hope it's
many times every day.
And when you say so, the snow swipers, that's very specific to you. And what's different about a snow swiper to maybe a normal slow clearing machine like we might have in the UK?
I'm not sure what kind of equipment you have, but our snow swipers is that kind of that first there's a plow in the front. It's about 6 meter wide, and it takes the most of the on the snow from on the runway. Now you can see the picture, and after that there is a brush, what is brushing the asphalt, and in the end of that machine there is air blowers, and then they are taking out what the brush are. If there is ice on the runway, the brush are taking them out, and the air blowers they are blowing them in the out from the runway.
So it has many different processes in the same machine?
Yeah,
right.
same machines, and we have that kind of equipment. We have 5 here in Rovaniemi airport, but sometimes there is 1 or 2 they are broken. So we are own maintenance guys who are looking after on them, and as I said, that they are coming so much working hours for them that. And they are very, very specific that we have to maintain them by own stuff, because there is no other maintenance company who can maintenance for them.
Sure. I guess it's like an aircraft, isn't it? You have to use the right parts for the aircraft. You can't just use anything that you find in the shop. How many people do you have to drive the vehicles? You said there are 5. How many people, if they're covering 25,000 kilometers, is that the same person every time, or do you have a number of
No,
24 hours?
Because we are open 24/7, we have 3 shifts per daily in our maintenance. And this winter time we have about 30 guys who are working on the maintenance. And it's normal that in the morning shift there is about 5 or 6 members on that one, and also in the evening shift there is about 5 or 6 guys who are working and driving on those. But in the night time, because there is only a few operations in the night time, there is 3 guys who are in a shift, and they are running the airport. And they are cleaning also the runway, and also they are doing the fire rescue when the aircraft is landed. They are going on the maintenance building, and they are doing also the fire rescue work on there if needed.
So they have dual purpose, those people. They work in the fire as well as the maintenance.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And Suvi, how many people do you work with in air traffic control?
Well, at the moment we are 15 at the airport, at the ATC, but we usually have less people in the summertime, of course, since we are not that busy, like civilian-wise on the summertime. But we do, like outside of the winter, we are very busy with military traffic. So I would say in the summertime we are 13 or something like that, but now at the moment we are 15.
And how does that work in terms of your shift patterns? So where I am, we have 5 watches that cover through 24/7. So we rotate, we do 6 days on and 4 days off. Is that similar for you?
No, we don't have any fixed schedule, since the days are so different. So sometimes it's very heavy days, like a very heavy demand, and then some days the military is flying more, and sometimes can be really quiet ones. So it's always based on the need. So the rosters are made for the need, so we don't have any fixed schedule.
Okay. So maybe we've just got time for a final question. This one's from Stephen. When is the best time of year to see the Northern Lights at the airport and visit Rovaniemi?
Well, in the dark time, I would say the best time to see the Northern Lights is November, December, maybe January for the dark time. And if you want to see the Santa Claus, it's of course the December. That's a picture for my tower. We have a really nice auroras and northern lights here sometimes. But the spring is also really nice, like March, April, when we do have a lot of snow and a lot of sunlight. So I would say that like the whole winter is a nice time to visit here.
Amazing. I'll book my ticket. And we have one final question from David, which is a bit of a play on a song that we sing at Christmas in the UK. Does Santa read NOTAMs, and does he check them twice?
Of course, because this airport is for the Santa Claus official airport. Of course, Santa is reading our NOTAMs.
Before every flight. Definitely.
Guys, thank you so much for your time. It's been really, really nice talking to you and fascinating to find out more about what you do in Rovaniemi. That's all we've got time for today. I hope you really enjoyed the show. And Snow, a huge thanks to you guys for joining us. It will shortly be available on the NATS YouTube channel, as well as an audio podcast in all the usual places. Keep an eye on our social channels for details of the next show. And as ever, if you have any questions or suggestions about topics, please do let us know. Thanks very much, guys.